Hey, 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 it's Kari with Kari Caldwell Studios. Welcome to Amy Howard's Paint-a-thon. I'm Kari Caldwell Studios in San Diego, California. If you want to know more about me, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and at this Paint-a-thon right now. Today I'm going to share with you a technique that I really love, and I use it quite a few places. It's called reverse painting on glass. I'm going to give you a really simple form of starting out with reverse painting on glass, and then I want you to use your intuition, your creativity, and create it to more projects for yourself, or use it in a different way. So I'll show you this first one. This is with some peacock feathers, and it's really pretty. We paint on the back side. That's why it's called reverse painting on glass. The way you can use this is you could take the glass out of a tray that you have, a tabletop that you have. You could cut it and do backsplashes. You can take any tabletop, any size. You can take, like this is just a little round one off of one of my tables, and I just painted on the back, and then I just set it back on my table. You could take one of your frames that you get from the thrift store, do your technique on your glass, and then reinstall it in your frame, and then you have your own custom piece of art. You can make trivets out of it by putting some little feet. Excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat. By putting little feet on here. Just think outside of the box and be creative when you're figuring out how to use reverse painting on glass. You can use multiple colors, you can use one tone, two tones, you can do all kinds of things. Today we're going to work with the Amy Howard at Home lacquer spray paint. I'm using the Vendome Gray and the Lagrange dark gray, and a piece of tempered glass that I just happen to have in the studio. And then I'm also going to use from her sister company one of her mesh stencils to put on here. So when we paint on glass, if there really is a right and wrong side to your glass, make sure you're painting on the back side of your glass, not the front side, because it's going to lay down and all the painting will be protected underneath, and you can use your glass surface exactly how you would normally use your glass surface. So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to dip you down, and I'm going to show you how we do this, okay? Excuse the ride. All right, I think we got a pretty clear perspective of where I'm at. So the first thing you want to do is just go ahead and take some Windex alcohol, those are the best to use, and a dust-free kind of rag and clean it. This happens to be bamboo, so it cleans really well. You really just have to focus on the back side and get all your fingerprints and stuff off and make sure it's clean. And clean your piece of glass. So on this sample, I used the lighter gray for the design and the darker gray for the background. On this sample, I used the darker gray for the design and the lighter gray for the background. So you can make that decision. You can have a couple pieces of glass around if you'd like, and do it a couple of ways. You can have your glass cut to your stencil size and make your backsplash and do alternate repeating designs. So like I said, there's a lot you can do. So I'm going to use the stencils from her sister company, a Maker Studio, and this is a mesh stencil, and it comes on a release paper, and it has a little self-adhesive to it. I've used this a couple of times, so my adhesive is starting to break away, but once in place, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I'm just going to pull this back. It's been very hot in here in my studio, so it's a little sticky. All right, so I'm going to place my mesh stencil right on top of my piece of glass. That happens to fit perfectly. I'm going to turn mine over because the tempered sign is in the front. Not that I'm going to use this for anything, but it's raised. So I'm just going to turn my glass over. So this is, like I said, so many ways you can use this technique. All right, so let's put our sticky side down. It happens to fit, like I said, perfectly on there. And then I'm just gonna give it a nice swipe down. So I'm gonna do mine in reverse. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Lagrange. Reverse from the peacock feathers. I'm gonna use the Lagrange as the background and the Verdum for the background. So what you wanna do is just go ahead and shake your lacquer really well. And we're gonna give this a spritz. Now this is where you get to be your own artist and decide if you want it distressed, fully saturated. Once you hit this stencil, this mesh stencil with this lacquer, it's not coming off. So I get to use this one time, but I'm gonna sacrifice. But otherwise, you can use any Mylar stencil, and that would probably, and you can do multiple repeats. But I wanted to stay true to the Amy Howard company, both her sister and At Home. So I'm using the mesh stencil, and it's going to be sacrificed and it's never coming back. So I'm gonna do this once for you guys, but I would translate this into your Cricut stencils, Mylar stencil, or what have you. Lace is another good thing. You can use lace. That's another really good technique. Just a little piece of lace. If I see, do I have a piece of lace in front of me? No, it's probably too far away for me to fetch a piece of lace. But you can lay a piece of lace over it, which would give you the same technique. And but I'm just gonna go ahead and use the stencil. I've used it quite a few times, so I'm willing to sacrifice it. So let's go ahead and spray this on. And I'm just gonna come straight down and mist it through. Now you can peek on the other side and kind of tell that it's coming through. Like I said, I like mine distressed, but when we fill it with the background, when we put the second coat on, it will kind of close up those areas. So I'm just gonna do a little bit more misting. And then for speed's sake, I'm just gonna take my my blow dryer and kind of hit this. Okay, that gives me enough to go ahead and pull it off. Well, not too much stayed in the mesh stencil, so I could potentially use this again. So I just wouldn't go a long duration, meaning you want a bunch of repeats with the one, unless you want to buy them all. Okay, so here I go. Look, already, how cool is that? You could stay here, you could put a background on there. It just depends on what you're doing, what's going to be mounted on, and what have you. So we're going to hit this with the blow dryer one more time. If I was just doing this, I would just let this sit for a few hours. But since we're on a paint-a-thon, let's just go for it. Okay, so now I'm fairly dry. Like I said, I would probably let this sit a little bit longer if I was in a normal situation. So that color that we just put on is called Lagrange. This is the Amy Howard At Home Lacquer. I like it because it just gives it a really nice finish on here. The back is really hardy, nice and hardy on there. So that's what I like about it. You can put a coat of shellac on the back if you'd like, if you're going to mount it with some mastic on a backsplash. So you can have your glass company cut you your glass to fit your backsplash, which is very easy. Let's just say it's in your laundry room or your linen closet down the hallway or anything like that. You could just have the piece of glass cut, pick your stencil. It could be a tile design, it could be what have you. You do the application, and then you can have them come back and mount it up and put it on your backsplash, or maybe you could DIY all this to the end yourself. I know I certainly can, and we'll be thinking of areas coming soon to use this technique. So that's why it's just fun to play with glass. There's all kinds of glass around. Maybe even your local glass shop would have some scraps for you to grab. So now we're going to do the background, and we're going to fill in all the negative space with another color, and then that helps make the design pop on the other side. So we're going to use the Vendome Gray, and we're going to just spritz the whole thing. And I would do this a couple of times depending on your distress level that you like it at. So give your pan a really good shake, and always use the lacquer in a ventilated area. It's really important. I have the door open, my window's open, and then I blow dry it out of my face. So, okay, so we're just going to spritz this. And this is, like I said, where you could decide if you wanted more distressing. You could leave it sort of open like that. You can always just lift it up and check what's going on, and see right there is pretty cool. Like, you could technically just stop if it was like for a table tray or something. You don't want to really see the background if you like the background that it's going to sit on. So, but I'm going to close it up. Close it up means make it more solid. Okay, went a little heavy for the sake of time. Blow it, dry it out of my face. At the end of the day, lacquer probably doesn't really like to be rushed to be dried, but you guys, how cool. Now I have, like I said, a hangable piece of art, a backsplash, cut into tiles, find a design that fits whatever size I'm cutting. I have tabletops. I have just, I don't know, like I said, just even just setting this up on your makeup table and putting your makeup on a piece of glass is a really cool thing too. But you see how cool is that? Super easy. A Maker Studio sister company mesh stencil, which it looks like I can use this again. I laid it down on the painted side, so I got to lay it down on the other side, but like I said, it looks like the spray went through there really well, so I could potentially use this, I don't know, up to 3 to 4 times, you know, to make my design. Or like I said, just get your vinyl stencils and use a vinyl stencil. You could cut it into a subway shape, and you could have all the design as a whole, but cut and then grout lines in between, or you could cut a mini shape you want, and voila. I'll put a few more coats on the back just to make it pretty hardy, but that is what we call reverse painting on glass with the Amy Howard at home lacquer paint, which does an excellent job of creating art. So let's bring you on up. And I just want to say thank you for watching, and let me know how you use the reverse painting on glass, if you'll even try reverse painting on glass, and I would love to hear in the comments what you think about this technique. So enjoy your paint-a-thon today. It's a magical time to just spend with other artists and see how they do their work, and enjoy your day. Kari Caldwell Studios. Peace out.